outside looking in, Man City looked like one of the best teams in the world. 5 Premier Leagues in the last 10 seasons, along with 6 League Cups and 2 FA Cups in that same time. That is ridiculous. But I got news for you. That's all their success, all coming in the last decade. Almost nothing before that. And I got other news for you. I hate Man City with a passion. They're the noisy neighbors. They're so annoying. Almost everything that they do is less important than their rivals doing the same thing. Among fans of these other teams in the whole circle of football, Man City aren't really accepted as a big team. Although, that reputation won't last forever. Now, I turned 18 in a few months. I'm a part of the first generation of football fans that have always known Man City as a winning team. They've been around for a while. And while I'm a die-hard United fan, I have to respect greatness when I see it. And I don't feel like City really gets that respect for a bunch of reasons, which we'll go into today. But they are run amazingly from top to bottom. And I think that they do deserve a little bit more respect. And it pains me to say this, but we're gonna go over it today.
After the game, Guardiola said he would like more people in the stadium for tomorrow's Premier League game.
City's like that annoying little brother that I never really had. They think that they matter. They think that they're the big time.
To me, you will still be that little city. Little city from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
There's no identity to that football club. It doesn't feel real. It feels manufactured, because it is manufactured by very rich people who want to have the best team in the world.
No matter how much money you have, you can't buy fans.
All right, let's start from the top. And I mean the very top. Because, you ask most fans why they hate Liverpool, United, Real Madrid, Barcelona. They'll give you that typical, oh, their fans are really annoying, I've always hated that team, we have a rivalry, blah, blah, blah. But with Man City, it's a little bit different. There's a particular reason, a very specific one, why fans, especially older ones, really don't like them. Now, if you know a lot about football, then you know what the reason is. But if you don't, like I said before, Man City weren't always a good team. And to understand that, let's take a look back. So I sat down for a few hours and did my research, and I compiled what I see as basically the entirety of Manchester City's history. Let's look at it, shall we? Founded in 1880, Manchester City, or originally dubbed St. Mark's West Gordon, was founded by a pair of churches to lower gang violence and alcoholism by creating new activities for local men in the Manchester area. They entered the first division of English football in 1899 and won their first ever trophy 5 years later in the FA Cup. But this time was pretty turbulent for the team. They spent the following decades bouncing from the first to second division from time to time. They won their first league title in 1937, but were relegated the next season. Finally, City found stability in the first division in the 70s and 80s, winning another league title, an FA Cup, and even a European Cup Winners' Cup. And that's pretty much it. Now, all that history bundled up into just like a few seconds of narration sounds pretty good, but you gotta consider that's almost over 100 years of history for Manchester City. And their trophies that they won in that time is nothing even compared to what they won in the last 5 years. If you want to put into context about how average Man City were before recently, let's look at the 1999 season, where they spent a season in the third division of English football, the lowest they've been since, 50 years prior to that? In the exact same season, 1999, that's the season where Manchester United, their crosstown rivals, won a historic treble in the Premier League, FA Cup, and Champions League in the same season. They are the only English team to have ever done that. Look, say from 1880 to 2000, that's 120 years. They won 2 league titles over that. It's not terrible by any means, and I know some fans would kill for that. But in the same time, United won 17, Liverpool won 18. And that's not even including the other trophies they won along the way, along with all the other European success from other teams. Out of every team in the Premier League today, only 9 teams had less major trophies in 2008 than Man City. Teams like Wolves, Newcastle, Leeds, Aston Villa, and even English clubs in the lower divisions like Nottingham Forest, Blackburn Rovers, and Huddersfield have similar or more footballing history than Manchester City. But suddenly, almost overnight, with the club in financial crisis and the owners looking to sell the team, Man City's fortune would take a turn forever. On the 4th of August 2008, Sheikh Mansour of the United Arab Emirates became Manchester City's majority owner in a deal to buy the club worth an estimated £200 million. Mansour is a famous Emirati politician who's known as the Deputy Prime Minister of the UAE. He's one of the well-known members of the Abu Dhabi royal family. Today, he has an estimated net worth of around $22 billion. Now, in the late 2000s, he also dived into the world of business. He bought a 32% stake in Virgin Galactic in 2009, worth about $280 million. And through his investment company, he bought a 9% stake in Daimler, a German automotive manufacturer, in another deal worth over $2.5 billion. So while for me, you, pretty much anybody that'll ever watch this video, £200 million is a ridiculous amount of money, that's only a fraction of what this Mansour person spent in that year. Needless to say, Mansour virtually made Manchester City the richest club in football kind of overnight. Their spending exploded. They broke the British transfer record less than a month after Mansour's arrival, splashing over £32 million on Brazilian sensation Robinho. They spent nearly £150 million in Mansour's first summer, bringing in 10 new players. Spent another £120 million the summer after, recruiting another 6 players. In 2010, another $150 million was spent for 7 new players. And City have upheld this kind of spending pretty much every single season since 2008, with a majority of that money being outside investment, basically meaning the owner just pumping money into the club. In 2011, Man City won their first trophy since 1976. 1 year later, they were crowned Premier League champions for the first time, in pretty much the most dramatic fashion you could possibly think of. And pretty much the rest is history. They've dominated English football ever since, and has spent more than anyone in that same time. Now, is that kind of money illegal? Not at the time, no, definitely not in the sports world. Unethical though, definitely unethical. And that's why people don't like Man City. There's no romance to their success. You know, they've had cool stories and everything, but everything they do has an asterisk next to it. You know, the main principle of sport in general is that success is earned. In football, this could be through developing your academy, scouting on the transfer market, good coaching. It's like, man, look how rough things were. We're so lucky we signed that player, we got this coach, and that player came good finally. But with Man City, it's like, man, look how rough things were. We're so lucky that rich guy came along and replaced all our team, spending billions in the process. Their success doesn't really have any merit to it. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that Man City would be having this kind of success the moment they were bought. And even if you're an adamant Man City defender, you have to agree with some of the points I just made. They're not on the same level, size-wise, as the other big teams in England. Look, taking the mick out of them is so fun, but the truth is, as more time passes in the world of football, the fact that Man City's success is very artificial, it won't matter anymore with due time. And there's a few reasons for that. Oh, City fans, I got 4 pages of notes here defending you guys. So don't call me a salty United fan. You're right though. Football has a rich history. Okay, look, it's been around for a long time before us, and it's gonna be here for a long time after us. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is that generations of kids growing up over these next few decades are gonna forget. Because pretty much everyone my age and younger have always known Man City as a great team. The only difference between my generation and the one after is that we're better educated on the Man City before the money. And that generation will be better educated than the generation after them. and so on and so on and so on, until I'm ranting to my grandson about how Man City were before the money, and he's like, Grandpa, what the hell are you talking about? Even these days, you don't believe me, you can look at Chelsea. Yes, they were a team on the rise before the cash injection, but would they be 4-time Prem winners and 2-time Champions League winners if it wasn't for Roman Abramovich coming and spending all that money on them? Hell no. And in 2005, they had that be known to them, that they were buying their success. And then a little bit too in 2012, but a little bit less in 2015 and 2017, and then pretty much nothing in 2021, honestly. If you're a casual football fan or new to the game, you might not even know that Chelsea were the Man City before Man City. What I'm saying is that Chelsea have the respect now, and if they don't, it'll come in the near future. And it'll also come for Man City. It'll definitely take longer than it did for Chelsea, but that respect for Man City will eventually come. And yes, most of our fans are bandwagons. I know you know one, I know a couple myself. I can't blame them though. Either way, more often than not, the root of someone's fandom to a team is because of the success of that team. Especially with most fans tuning into games being abroad, there isn't really that support your local culture there was before. And look, that doesn't mean that those fans aren't loyal, doesn't mean they're plastic, they're fake. I'm in love with Man United, and anything could happen to them now, and I'd still love them. But would I have been a United fan or become a United fan 10 years ago if they were always like a mid-table team? Probably not. And speaking of United, this really leads me onto the thing that rival fans can generally all agree they're jealous of when it comes to Man City, which is the way that they are operated. Look, the way that they get their money is no doubt pretty shady, but you can't deny the way that they use that money. Even beyond the transfer market, it's amazing. The way that they've invested around the Etihad, in the areas, the pubs, even their training and academy facilities across the road are state-of-the-art and are starting to show promise, and even putting investment to the women's game. And they've helped that whole entire league progress, and that team is playing some fantastic stuff. Even as recently as last year, Sheikh Mansour paid for Man City's trips to Porto for the first ever Champions League final. Compare that to the actions of some of the other owners in the Premier League, who wouldn't even chalk up money for fresh paint on their stadium. Bottom line is that Man City are run by a board who prioritize winning and are run like a football team. Not like a business, like a football team. And look, their success has been a case study, and it's been like a winning formula to go off of by, even beyond spending all that money. If you need any proof of it, just look at the damn results. Like, are you kidding me? No one has had that much success in a 10-year period outside of Manchester. Crazy. And look, maybe you're still standing strong. You're still like, okay, but the way that they get their money is still bad, and the oil is still bad for the environment, all that stuff. Look, the more you talk about the source of Man City's money and the way that they're run and owned, then the more you're starting to have a conversation that's pulling out of the sport in general. The fact of the matter is, money has a huge and growing role in football. And the reason for that, and the source, and the standards, way precedes 2008 when Man City was taken over. Red flags were there. You know, the giant superpowers like FIFA and the Premier League operated with profit as a priority over what was best for football years before Man City, PSG, Chelsea, Leipzig, any of those money teams. And even beyond that, you take a step back into sport and you look at the structure of each league. This is the main difference of knowing and paying attention to American sports at the same time as paying attention to football. The way American sports work is that you could be the worst team in the league and then within 3 years, 5 years be contending for a title, and vice versa. But in football, especially in the top flights of leagues, the best teams are usually like stagnant at the top, the middle teams usually stay down, and the bottom teams will switch out sometimes because of relegation, but mainly the main image of a league won't change that much from year on year. You can stop watching the Bundesliga for a few years, you come back in 5-10 years, you still know that Bayern Munich will probably be at least near the top. You stop paying attention to like the baseball picture, the hockey picture, the American football picture, pretty much any American sport you stop paying attention to for too long, and the whole league is flipped on its head like that. Say like you're a Southampton fan. Do you believe that you could win a Premier League title one day? Genuinely. Because usually in football there's filters, right? A great player on a bad team will probably filter up, maybe go to either a great team or just like one of those middle of the pack teams. Same thing there. If there's a great player that's standing out from one of those mid-table teams, he'll probably end up at a big club within a few years playing in the Champions League. Exhibit A, look at Jack Grealish. Being amazing in Aston Villa, carrying them higher and higher up the table every single year. Guess who takes them? Manchester City. Now look at Villa. They're fighting for their lives this season. They just fired their manager as well. So then if you're not a great team, how can you ever expect to challenge for league titles if your best players are just going to be picked off of you by the ones that you're trying to chase? You have to become a great team. And how do you become a great team? You got it. You got it. You have to spend the money. Offer more wages to anyone else. Grab all the best talent throughout the world, and in a few years, the trophies will be yours, no matter how shady the money you're using is. And look, I'm not here agreeing or defending the morals of that practice, though I think it's pretty obvious. The point is this. Man City's owners bought the club in 2008 and saw pretty quickly what they had to do to win. And in my personal opinion, they've executed that game plan to absolute perfection. And if you have a problem with that, then look, just don't hate the player, hate the game. Ciao. I quite enjoyed that one, That was pretty fun. If this is your first time watching me, my name is Julian. Believe it or not, you probably couldn't tell, but I am not a Man City fan. Trust me, could not be further from it. Why am I making a video defending them? I don't know. I guess I like to see both sides and things. It's a bit of a curse, to be honest. Anyways, if you enjoyed the production, you can scroll down a little bit, hit that like button, also that big red button right next to it, because I'm going to be making plenty more videos like this one, and you don't want to miss them. Obviously, with school going on, it's a little bit time permitting, but I really enjoyed making this one, so I really hope I can get back to it again, and again, and again after that. You get the idea. I'm really looking forward to making more videos like this one down the line, and hopefully I'll see you there for it. Alright? Easy. How does it feel to be city? How does it feel to be small?